Hello! So, I wasn't planning on doing 2 streams today earlier, but I thought I'd do an extra stream. Some of you might have heard that when I was in the chat. On the earlier stream, sort of said I'll get back into doing some webcam streams to see if I get a lot more people watch them. Because the problem is when I normally do game streams, I get between about 10 and 20 people watching for a lot of it. Whereas I'm pretty sure when I do these webcam streams, I often get up to like 50 people watching. So, I'm going to try doing some of these again. And what I want to get into the habit of doing as well is try and maybe do streams at different times of the day, because I normally do them in the evening, and obviously this one is in the evening. I was thinking sometimes I might do them a bit earlier in the day and see if other people get to watch them. You know, because the issue is quite often when I do these streams, they're always in the evening, so it means for people in certain time zones or work in certain hours they won't be able to see them. Whereas if I, you know, maybe do the streams a bit more at different times, some people manage to catch them that can't normally catch them. So, hello to everybody who's just joining and saying hello. What is it I've got new then? Because it says you have something new, but doesn't say what. Also, I don't think slow mode's on. Let me check. Right, slow mode isn't on, so you can post as many comments as you want. Obviously, don't spam. If too many people start watching and I end up getting too many comments, I might have to turn slow mode on, but we'll see. Oh, do I have something new? I've got new glasses on probably since the last time you saw me do a stream. But I don't know if I've got anything new on the wall behind me. I don't think... No, there's nothing new on there. In terms of like gas masks, I've got another PBF coming and 2 PDFs which are missing parts because I want to try and do repair jobs and modification jobs to those. Alright, cool. Glad you like the S10. It's a good mask, isn't it? So I might finish this stream just before 9 o'clock, because Weapon Collector does his streams at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to be watching his stream, although when this stream ends I'm going to have to go get some food quickly before his stream starts, or, you know, miss the start of his stream. But I was going to say to everybody that's on, go to his channel once my stream ends if you want to continue sort of seeing a similar kind of stream. Oh, it's exactly what it says. I'm thinking it was a parody. You know what a parody is? Ah, cool, yeah. I very much like the sort of tinted outserts for an S10 or an FM12. Weapon Collector, you'll know who he is when he's on. But I've done a collab stream with him before. I'm not doing a collab stream with him tonight, but he generally does streams on Friday. I have no idea. I can't tell you how much stuff costs in other currencies because I have no way of knowing that. But I imagine if it's a Polish gas mask and you're buying it in Poland, it's going to be very cheap, because you're buying it from your own kind of surplus stock. It's not having to be, you know, imported and then having lots of traders make margins on it. But I imagine you could probably get most of the Polish masks for a few zloty. I know on exchange rates, like £1 is about 5 zloty, 4 or 5 zloty. So I imagine then it would be, you know, anywhere between 5 and 10 zloty for a lot of the Polish masks in Poland, maybe even less. What, the ones in Fallout? Yeah, I like playing Fallout, but the one I did earlier, YouTube sent me an email and said, oh, it's not suitable for all people, but I don't know if that's because Fallout's actually, you know, an age-restricted game, or if it's just that they decided to randomly stick that on my video. I don't drink all that much, but with beers, I quite like the really strong kind of like Belgian sort of blonde beers, although I prefer bitters normally, but they're like definitely the best beers, but I can't get them that often. But when somebody gets me them, like things like Delirium and things like that, which are like the 7 to 10% beers, I like those. Wine, I quite like mead. Spirit, I quite like whiskey and rum, and, you know, most spirits I like anyway. Yeah, it's been alright. I haven't done much today, other than I did that stream earlier. like as I was saying to people earlier, some people prefer these streams, some people prefer, prefer the game ones, so I can't really win in that regard. I just want to try and do more webcam streams because I think more people do watch these. Favourite camo is probably either Flecton or SS Lito. No, the softbox is good. I'm not using it in this video because it is a bit of a pain in the arse to set up in this room, because I'd need to bring it into this room and it doesn't fit through the doorway very well, and then plug it in over there. So what I've just done is I've lit the brightness up a bit more, software wise. I know it doesn't look perfect with the webcam, it's not the highest quality webcam anyway, so even with brilliant lighting this webcam doesn't look too good. At some point I might get another webcam, but I've still not seen many so far online that seem good value for money. That's cool. But the softbox is good for all the new videos I've actually been filming with it. No, I don't watch any of those sort of Marvel films or, whatever. Guardians of the Galaxy was the last Marvel film I think I watched, and that was years ago, wasn't it? Like 2014 or something. So yeah, I don't generally watch like superhero films or whatever. Okay, so it says there's 19 people watching now, so hopefully there's more people joining. Well, funnily enough, if you're interested in films, there's a video. It'll be like a month before it comes out. But I've done a video on my entire Blu-ray collection, so all the films in there are generally ones I'd recommend. So just wait for that video, and then you'll get a like half-hour-long video talking just about films. Let me look that one up, thank you, and I'll see if that's sort of what is suitable for my needs. They've got it for £60 on Amazon. It's 1080p. Yeah, it looks like it might be alright. I'll keep an eye on that one then. How well does it work with room brightness? I imagine it'll be a lot better than the current one I've got, but that's one of the main complaints I've had with some webcams before, is where you seem to have to get the room really bright to actually get a good picture through the webcam. Oh, thank you. Yeah, if you want to donate, you're welcome to. You can either do it through a super chat or you can do it through Patreon. The link's in the description. The only mask, I've only got 2 masks on display. I've got one MM1 that's on a mannequin, and I've got one MM1 that's on a soft, not like a foam head thing. That one's up there, but I can't really turn the webcam to show it you, because then I have to try and reset the webcam's position. Yeah, this one has auto adjust, but I turn it off because it never looks good with auto adjust. It auto adjusts the colours to look really silly. Well, to be honest, I think that's because there's not a level of professionalism with my videos, but that's kind of what I want to get at next with my videos. I don't want to be, you know, selling out for anything. Anyone can donate if they want to. I don't have a rule saying you can't donate for whatever reason. I mean, that is from the prequels though, isn't it? Nobody likes the prequels. Well, to be honest, once The Last Jedi came out, I watched the prequels again. I actually enjoyed them a bit more. But yeah, if you want to donate, there's a Patreon link in the description. Or you can donate via Super Chat through YouTube. It should send me an email if you have them. No, at the moment I've not received anything. No idea. I'm not very good at repairing stuff like that, so you'd probably want to maybe ask people who are really into Geiger counters, I don't know, or like channels like Big Clive where they do lots of stuff with electricity. Yeah, sounds a real shame, Richard, but yeah. I guess, yeah, you're gonna have to use really good coal or coke or whatever if you're gonna need it, especially if you're gonna make money back through forging stuff for people. I mean, the bill hook head you did for me was fine. Was that done with just regular house coal? Or is it just because with a sword you need like even more to be consistent with it? What do you mean? Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine, Portland somewhere else? Simply saying Portland doesn't tell me where it is. Alright, T55. See, I'm doing a webcam stream for a change. Like I've said before, I'd like to come to the States. I think it's in the FAQ, but it's not, moving there is certainly not very practical. In terms of going there on holiday, I will at some point, but this year I'm using a load of spare money to buy a new PC when AMD release their 7nm chips. When you say a bongo, do you mean a bong, like a weed bong, or do you mean, like an instrument? Alright, glad you enjoyed the videos. Well, my current one's quite an old one, so it's an AMD FX 9590, which was the top of that AMD generation. Most people went for the 8350. The 9590 is slightly better than the 8350, but I wouldn't really, for most people, the 8350 is a much better price performance CPU. And for my GPU, that's an RX 480. So, yeah, what I'm waiting for is the 7nm chips, because they're going to be a big, advancement in terms of, like, performance power on CPUs. So that's why I want to, buy an entire new PC. I mean, I could build one myself, because I built the current one, but I just find with the price margins now on a lot of sites that build PCs, there's so little in it that I'd just rather get somebody else to do it without, have it all guaranteed and not have the hassle myself of having to do it, and I think I'd like that a lot more. So I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere in the 2 to 3 grand range for a top spec PC in about July, August time when all this stuff's out. But so I'm keeping some money saved up for that rather than going on holiday this year. But at least means when I do YouTube videos, I can render a video in a few minutes rather than like half an hour or whatever, so that will definitely be worthwhile for me there. It means there's a lot less time wasted, with lots of hardware sort of stuff. Alright, Mike. Yep, if you, I'm gonna probably go off a couple of minutes before 9, but I'm gonna cook myself some food very quickly before your stream, so I'll probably miss the start of your stream. But I had quite a big dinner today, or lunch today, and I've not had any dinner yet, so, what I'm gonna do obviously is when this stream ends, just make myself a small bit of dinner, and then I'll eat that watching your stream. But I obviously have to go AFK a bit to do it. Well, I've no interest in Fallout 76 at all, so I don't think it can be salvaged. But like I said, I'm not going to play it, so I don't care. No, I've not been in the military, and all the questions like that are in the FAQ, so read that. Alright, Peach, I was going to ask you, can I make you a mod? Is that alright? Because I know you watch this stuff regularly and might trust you and everything. Because I wanted to have a couple more mods on, just so when people spam the chats and things like that, I can actually have other people helping me monitor it, because I know you're a mod on his thing, so. Yeah, don't worry, it's just that's why it says read description FAQ, is just simply because the amount of questions that get asked that I get sick of answering over and over. The reason there's only certain people I trust with it is it's because it's people I've spoken to for ages on YouTube, so I know that they're, legit channels in a way, where I wouldn't really trust anybody to do it other than a couple of people. They'd have to be people I know in real life, or enough people know, Well, I need to get up at 7:30 in the morning, and then I start work at 8:30, and then I'm working till 5. Or around 5, it depends on how busy it is. Might be working late, I might finish a bit early. Yeah, I really like New Vegas, it's the reason I've been streaming it. In the UK you can own real firearms, but there's lots of hoops to jump through if you want to. Well, the only one of those channels I'm subscribed to is PewDiePie, but I don't watch all his videos. I watch some of his videos now and again. But, yeah, I have no interest in T-Series. Is T-Series like Bollywood stuff? I know it's like a big Indian channel, but I know T-Series is eventually going to win on subscribers just because it's like a very big business kind of channel. But obviously, like, I'd have more support for a channel like PewDiePie because it's an actual person. Alright, thank you if you say so. But would I be a bad person if I said T-Series? Seems a very kind of weird morality test. Alright, there's 25 people watching now. Another thing I was going to mention to people is merchandise. Because a load of people have kept asking me for ages, would I do merchandise? And I kept saying no, no, no. But then weapon collectors started using Teespring to do mugs and like shirts and things. And he's apparently had quite a lot of success with that. So what I'm going to get one of my friends to do, because he's actually an artist, like, you know, he's a properly qualified artist as well, and he does illustrations for books and things, is I'm going to see if he wants to draw me. Well, he's already said he will do. I'm going to see if he's, you know, up to it quite soon, probably next week or two, drawing me out some designs that look good, you know, like, so they're actually specifically made ones by somebody who does drawing and that as a hobby and a job. And then, you know, I'll go from there, because if people want some, like, cool gas mask artwork kind of t-shirts and things like that, he'd definitely be up for drawing them. So then that would also support my channel if people bought those. Probably wouldn't be very big profit margins on it, but, you know, it'd be an extra couple of quid every time somebody buys a mug or a t-shirt. And I'd definitely buy some, because it means when I'm doing my own videos I can be wearing, like a t-shirt with my channel on the front or whatever. Well, Weapon Collector who's on here at the moment, I watch a lot of his videos. He's probably one of the only channels I watch every one of his videos. 13 O'Clock Podcast is another channel I watch, like, all their videos, I'd say, but they're like an actual podcast one. It really depends, to be honest. Richard Weaponsmith, who's in the comments, I watch his videos quite often. He does forging type stuff. Oh yeah, okay, sorry Rich, I did see that previous one, I don't know if I commented on it, but yeah, so yeah, so was it that the coal was just simply better from that supplier than the current one you're using? Right, that's all my coffee gone, but that was actually decaf. Just because I need to go to bed in a few hours, I don't want to be drinking actual caffeine. But I think decaf has got a little bit of caffeine in, hasn't it? Don't need to. Like I was saying, with the food stuff thing, it's always like that. You know, the food gets rotated and everything, but there's always like a month or 2 months worth of food in that cupboard. Regardless of what's going on, there's always food in that cupboard. Yeah, I used to like Rammstein. I haven't listened to any of their newer stuff, you know, because like when they did, was it Mutter, the album? Like, the German word for mother? That was a pretty good album, but I've not really listened to any of their stuff recently. So, do you mean the British sort of post-war Centurion tank or the German World War II Panther? Centurion. Because it's not over-engineered and it was actually a pretty good tank. That's like saying T-55 or Panther. You know, T-55 obviously. Most of the, you know, like, early Cold War tanks that most of the superpowers fielded were pretty good. What's my favourite country? I mean, I assume you mean other than England that I'm in. Because you're probably posting something YouTube doesn't like, Riley, I'd guess. I like Poland when I went to Poland. I mean, I like America, but I've never been to America. There's lots of countries I like, and, like, I've been to or haven't been to. Wow, Ford, simply because there's a lot of Ford cars you can get in the UK where there's only 1 or 2 Chevys. Well, I'm biased to say the Enfield because I'm British, but the M1 Garand overall was a better rifle because the M1 Garand was basically a battle rifle. So, you know, it fits somewhere between the Enfield and that FAL there in terms of design. Obviously, if you then said to me FAL or Garand, I'd pick the FAL because it's got the removable magazines and everything else, but yeah, I'd say the Garand is probably a better rifle than the Lee Enfield. It's a more powerful cartridge, and obviously being semi-automatic's a big plus, but honestly I'm a bit of a sucker for old bolt action rifles. I've already done a video on my car, you should watch it. I've got a load of Czechoslovakian masks, gas masks. I don't have any guns because obviously in the UK can't get them. Yeah, that's cool, Mike. Watch any of my videos where I recommend masks, because any full face mask I'd recommend for that. As long as it can take particulate filters that you can swap out easily, most full face masks are going to be fine for that. Obviously ones that are made more from polycarbonate and tougher plastics are better in terms of like the mask not breaking on you if somebody hit you in the face or something like that. My favourite gas mask make would be Avon, because I'm an Avon fanboy. I'd say Draeger is also very good. Draeger's the German company that's been making gas masks since forever as well. 3M is pretty good, but 3M is kind of like a conglomerate of different companies. MSA was also good in the US as well. I hear Airboss in Canada is very good, but I don't actually have any of their masks. I've shot rifles before, but I've not actually got a membership at a gun range or anything like that. As I've said quite a few times in these streams, the issue is there's not any near me that would interest me. The one that sounded interesting people don't use anymore, sadly, which was historical rifle shooting. Yeah, I've already said I'm working tomorrow, so that means I've got a job, doesn't it? And YouTube's technically a job as well. I know this stuff because I'm interested in it. You can research stuff quite easily. Worst gas mask ever made, or the worst gas mask I own? I'd say any of the old cheek filter masks are pretty dreadful. Because obviously even if the quality of the mask itself is good, you've still got a mask with internal filters you can't change in an emergency. In terms of the ones I own, GSR is also pretty dreadful. Yeah, I've already answered your comment on that, Marsh Metro, didn't you read it? I said I've ordered a PBF specifically to do that video. So when that arrives I'll do a video of it, because I'm not taking apart my current one to do that. Do you mean the lightweight Russian mask that's got the charcoal actually inside the mask? The CM3 actually fits me better, but the CM4 is a better mask. So for me CM3, but for most people I think CM4. Well, nearly all the crossbows I've got are either Polang ones or Mankung. And there's also one I've got which is a Jandao, or Jando, however it's pronounced. I mean, companies like Barnett make very good crossbows, they're just not priced competitively, so I've got no interest in buying them, because if you can get a very good Chinese or Taiwan crossbow for less than £100, why would I want to spend £500 for something that's marginally better? That's kind of my logic. Oh, the Horizon ones are also good, the pistol crossbows. No, because like I said, I've not done that with the GSR simply because I want to keep it in its original condition because I've got enough good 40mm masks. But I know how to do it. There's like a picture guide on how to do it. The budgie's a bird, so well, the bird's a budgie. So budgerigar. What I think Americans call a parakeet, but it's not a parakeet, it's a budgie. I've heard Excaliburs are good, but again, I've seen that they're often like hundreds of dollars going up to the $1,000 range, which is pretty, over the price for a crossbow. Extortionate, I think is the word I'm looking for. Oh, good. I'm glad you find the videos interesting, NATO. Oh, as suspected, there are a lot more people on for this one now. There's 29 people watching now, this live stream, and when I do the game streams, it's between like 5 and 15 people the entire stream. So that is good, because obviously the more people watching, the better it is for me. But, you know, that's annoying. But yeah, I think only some countries can support via Super Chat or whatever it's called. But in the description at the bottom there's a Patreon link, so if you want to support me through Patreon you can do it that way. But as said, obviously if you can't support me, no worries. I know a lot of people can't, either for financial reasons or other random stuff, you know, where it just won't accept certain cards or whatever else. I'm not bothering to set up a PayPal for, I mean, I've got a PayPal, but I don't want it associated with YouTube. Because I know that's another way you can accept donations, but, as I said, when I get merch sorted out, if people want to buy merchandise, then they're supporting me and they're going to actually physically get something from it. You know, like t-shirts or mugs or whatever. Because I'm quite impressed with the merch Weapon Collector's got, although I haven't got around to buying any of his stuff yet. I'll definitely have to get a mug. Yep, number stations, like the UK one was the one that played Lancashire Poacher. There's obviously the famous Russian buzzer one, isn't there? But they were used to communicate with spies. Basically, a spy would be given a particular book, and a number station, how it worked, would give them a code. So when it gave them the numbers, that would mean a certain thing to do with their book, so they could, you know, have instructions through that. And it's foolproof, because if you use it to communicate with certain agents, you'd have to know exactly what book it is, you know, and everything like that. So you can't basically crack a number station's code. And, you know, they can change it really easily. It's not like you're giving somebody a code book. They actually did it with regular, you know, books. Yeah, I mean, if you could have bought any mask for £3, it's a good deal. I'm going to see if I can find it. Actually, if this is a stream, I might be able to put it up on screen. Let me have a quick look for you. Give me a moment. I think I've got the picture saved. Right, okay. I don't know who actually owns the copyright for these pictures, so just bear that in mind. I'm only going to put them up quickly, but if this works, you should see one there. Let me just see if it actually goes up. Yep, there's picture number 1. There's picture number 2. There's picture number 3. And there's picture number 4. So as you can see, that basically goes for all of them. Now I'm just going to delete all these off again. But you can obviously go back on the video and watch those. You know, you can go through the video when it's finished rendering after I've done it, and you can actually look at those. Yeah, the GSR is basically a 40mm mask with these weird adapters put onto it to take the bayonet filters. And you need an official tool, officially, to remove them, but you can do it, you know, with pliers and everything else. Do you mean the Lee Enfield that's on the wall? I'm not going to take that down right now, because that's a pain in the ass to put back up. FM12s are pretty common now, because so many different countries and police forces use them. Yep, cool. If people want to get stickers, I'll do stickers. Like I said, what I'm going to do is, when my friend's available, I'm going to sit down with him. I'm going to go on Teespring, because that's the one Weapon Collector uses, and he said it works well for him. And then we're going to draw out some things. We can maybe do photos as well. But like I said, because my friend's actually an artist, and he can draw stuff really well, because he gets commissions to do book illustrations and things like that, we're going to sit down together, and he's going to have a good look at actually making some proper merch. You know, rather than it just being hashed together stuff. That's why I never wanted to do merch before, because I always feel like I'd be ripping people off if I couldn't do it well. So when I said to him, would he be interested, and you know, he's a proper artist, and he said, yeah, that changes everything for me, because I feel like, you know, it's good for everybody involved, kind of thing. But yeah, yeah, I'm definitely going to do a mug, because obviously I drink from mugs a lot, so when I'm on having coffee in a stream, it means I can actually have a bit of brand recognition. I'm thinking I might get him to draw out my YouTube profile picture, where I've got the like Mark II helmet on, the light anti-gas respirator, the commando sort of jumper, and the FAL. I might get him to draw one of those out, so rather than just putting the picture that's actually my thing, get him to draw it out. I could get him to do illustrations, I guess, of certain masks, if that would interest people. And I thought I'd get him to do some funny things that said things like Avon fanboy, and then it's got a picture of me wearing an S10 or something like that, because I think people might find that funny. I'm streaming using OBS, which is like one of the most popular programs for streaming. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's good for how I like it, but it can be a bit complicated at times. That's cool, yeah, if you can get PBFs in your size, get them. Yeah, as I just said, I'm using OBS. Yep. I mean, I might be able to see Mike if you ever want him to draw any pictures for you, if he does it for me and it all works out. If there's anything you want drawn, he might be happy to do that for you, especially if he can get a little bit of the cut or whatever. I'm sure he'd be very happy to do that. But yeah, I've got no interest in Fortnite. Do you know if Teespring does international shipping, Mike? I don't know. But it could be that if Teespring doesn't, I could set up an account with another site. Ah, good. Yep, that's very good. Thank you, Mike. But yeah, the thing is, at least with merch, that's what I'm saying, is it allows me to make a bit more money, and hopefully it's stuff, you know, that people actually want. You know, like if you can draw a really cool gas mask picture for a t-shirt, some people might want to actually buy that to wear it. You know, and I don't want to charge too much for stuff as well, because I know some channels have stupid profit margins on it. What I'd rather have is smaller profit margins, but that actually encourages people to buy stuff, so I'm going to have to look into all that, but, you know, more money for everybody involved and stuff people actually want if they want to support me is good. Yeah, as I said, Mike, he does actually like illustrations for books and things like that, so he's a proper artist. I don't know if his website's set up yet, because he keeps messing about setting up a website, you know, to hand out to companies, and I don't know if he's finished it yet. Because if he'd got his website up and running, I'd link you to it, but... the VZ58 isn't actually an AK internally, though, is it? Most of the parts aren't compatible with AKs, and it's a different kind of action and everything. I don't know how many Avons are in your store. Alright, 37 people watching now, this is very good. Said, yeah, I'll definitely do webcam streams more often, because it seems people are actually involved in these. Field mask, something like that, I'd assume. Field mask 12. Right, let me have a look on Avon's website, because they actually have like a brochure on the FM12 on there. And we will see if it says, because I know CT12 is counter-terrorist 12. At least I think it is. Right, okay, here's a very flashy page on the FM12. Let's post that here. VW, because I used to own a Golf, but I'm very happy with my Dacia at the moment. Right, does it say on here what it actually stands for? And that's the important bit. I'll download the brochure, although I'm sure I've already got this downloaded, and I'm going to have a read of the brochure to see if it says on the brochure what FM12 stands for. It's 4 pages long. The legendary FM12 mask is the most widely used respirator across the world by military and law enforcement organisations. I don't actually think that's false, I think that's actually true, because so many countries use the FM12 now. As much as Avon seem to do a lot more futuristic looking masks like the M50, I think the reason they still keep making the FM12 is because of how many, you know, poorer countries would actually buy it. Does it say what the FM actually stands for? It only weighs 340 grams, apparently, the FM12 outward filter. That's pretty light, isn't it? But no, I don't think it says. I'm assuming it's something like Field Mask 12, though. I'd imagine that's what it stands for. whereas the other masks being M are things like, I guess, military or model, because like the US uses M as a like prefix for absolutely everything, and the M50 was the one that the US basically bought the contract for. No, I don't think I've had any gas masks that have broken. I mean, sometimes I've bought second-hand surplus gas masks that, just because they're surplus masks, are in bad condition. So, obviously then I've now and again bought duplicates of them, or sometimes I just get duplicate masks when I see a mask really cheap, and I think I'll have another one if it's only a couple of pounds. Evening, Tumbo. I've got a piano over there, but I haven't played that in ages, which is a shame. I used to play a fair bit of piano, actually, not at a very good level, but and I've got a few other instruments jotted around the house, but piano was the only one I ever got properly competent with. Yeah, that's just kind of, it's one of those annoying things where there's times when I'll think about it and think, oh, I really want to play the piano, but that'll be not when I'm actually in here near the piano. And then whenever I'm in my room, it's just like I forget it's there. It's like, it's just a bit of furniture. I mostly use eBay for most military surplus. I very rarely use actual independent websites. I just use sellers through eBay, because then you've got eBay buyer protection if there's ever a problem. Whereas if you don't use, you know, sites like eBay that support PayPal, you sometimes have a bit more trouble if you don't get your item. Not that I know of, Hyperstrike. I know there's a game you can get on Steam. I don't know if it's the World of Guns one that lets you do like all the field stripping and putting together of guns. But I don't know if there's anything on a mobile. I have no idea. If it was cheap enough, but I mean, it'd be, the steering wheel would be on the wrong side for driving in the UK anyway. That's the problem getting most imported cars. That's absolutely fine, especially if you found one that's very easy to do properly with the reflective film. Lots of people used to do that before the outserts became easier to get, or people 3D printed the outserts. No, there's absolutely no point in doing a video like that, and I don't want to give anything away about where I live because of obviously how many dodgy people there are online. I use Amazon a lot, but there's very rarely gas masks on Amazon. Yeah, in Britain you want cars that can survive potholes, that's one of the things. So 4x4s are quite popular here, I think, just because of how bad the conditions of lots of roads are. Yeah, but if you spend £1,000 getting the car, then how much work needs to be done on it? How many garages, when work needs to be done on it, can actually do it, because it's not a common car that's sold here? You know, are there then more taxes and everything else stuck onto it? I mean, if I was going to buy something really ridiculous in terms of vehicle, I'd buy an XAPC from the MOD. But obviously I'm not, because I'm happy with my Dacia and it's very cheap to run, which is what I love about it. You know, it gets good fuel economy. It's only as old as March last year, although I got it in July because I bought it pre-reg so I could save like £1.50 on it. But you know, it's got its first service coming up at the end of this month. You know, which isn't expected to cost over £100. So you know, at the moment it's very cheap to run. It only has like a 49 litre fuel tank, so it doesn't cost too much to fill it up from empty to full. And that fuel tank has enough, you know, with its fuel economy, can get it 500 to 600 miles on the autonomy of it. So yeah, all good. You've also got, in Poland though, a lot of, like, private roads though, haven't you, like toll roads. So the toll roads are much better than the national road, you just have to pay to drive along them. Most uncomfortable mask. Oh, that's a good one actually. Maybe the GP7 or PMK, just because the straps are really horrible and it's got that horrible face piece. No, I'm afraid, because I'm in like the Oxford area, I only know of the one I've used, which is in Milton Keynes. But I wouldn't know, like, in other parts of the UK. Yeah, I travel abroad. I haven't in the last couple of years, just because I've been saving money and stuff. And as I said, this year, as I said earlier in the stream, I don't know if you're on for it, you know, I'm saving up for a new PC. The next place I want to go though is the US for obvious reasons, but you know, at the moment it's just a case of finite money, even though I'm like working 2 jobs, so you know, I can't justify, because this year I could afford to go on holiday, but then I'd have to wait even longer to buy a new PC. You know, and I always like to keep a lot of money spare in case there's an emergency and I need it. No, I'm a bit too old for that T55, that's like a teenage thing. At my age, it's either like hookups or relationships. It depends how Slavic you count them, but I've been to Poland, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. That, so some people consider them Slavic, some people wouldn't. Some consider them Central European, but I've been to those. Probably over 100 NATO, I'd guess. Well, there's loads of states people keep saying come to my state. So I don't actually know where I'd go in the US yet. If I go on holiday to the US, I'd have to see. As I already said, for the GPU, I'm not entirely decided yet. Certainly not Intel, because Intel don't do GPUs. For the CPU though, definitely an AMD one, because AMD are going to be the first company to have the 7nm chips out. That's what I'm waiting for. And because Intel's had so many security problems and flaws and they haven't lowered their prices, I can get, you know, a fairly secure AMD chip that's very good performance-wise now, for decent money, whereas the Intel ones, you know, have lots of security flaws and they still cost loads. So it's going to be an AMD CPU, no question, but whether or not I get an NVIDIA or an AMD CPU totally depends on what's available at the time of buying. Because to be honest, the CPU in my PC gets a lot more use than the actual, like GPU does. I mean, I play games, but I found that even the GPU I've got, which isn't a top-end GPU, it's just an RX 480, that has no problem playing most things at 1080p, you know, getting a solid 60 FPS. A couple of things it will struggle with, but not many. And even with the Oculus Rift, I seem to be able to run both the displays and that at 60 FPS without much problem in most games. So, you know, any GPU I'd get in a new PC would probably be better than that GPU, but I'm sort of wondering how much better does it need to be, because yeah, sure, future-proofing is good, but, you know, I'm not playing at 4K, so I don't need something that can run at 4K resolutions. Out of the two, PlayStation, but I play PC. But I'd get a PS4 if I had to choose between an Xbox One or a PS4. Isn't the Israeli Model 4 the 4A1? Or are you thinking of something else? Because I only know of, like, the 4A1. The smaller version of that they do as a children's mask, and the M15. Right, you on now properly, Callum? It's something I'd kind of consider going vegan just simply because I like animals, but I don't think I ever would because I like meat too much. I mean, I'm more likely to go vegetarian just simply because I think I'd find it really hard not to, you know, have dairy, and just the amount of products that you probably couldn't eat if you were vegan, because there's so many products that contain, like, you know, either milk in them or you know, like other things like that, like honey. Vegans wouldn't have honey. You know, there's like so many things like that that I wouldn't be able to put up with the dietary requirements, and because I have ulcerative colitis anyway, and that can cause havoc with like a diet, because obviously it's a chronic illness, I basically just have to have whatever I'm going to have. So no, I wouldn't ever go vegan. I certainly have cut down a lot on meat since I've started working at an animal shelter, but I don't think I'd probably give up meat entirely either. But I have nothing against people who are vegetarians or vegans. I've got a lot of respect for people who've got like the commitment to do that. Yeah, if I was going to get Battlefield 5, I'd just buy it on PC, but I'm not going to buy Battlefield 5 either. Yeah, see, the Ryzen you've got, the CPU Mylos is already, or Milo, is already a lot, more advanced than my CPU is. It's just the 7nm, sort of 7 nanometer CPUs are meant to be coming out about this July, AMD have said. And that's going to be like a 20 to 30%, performance increase on all the equivalent CPUs. So for me, as much as if I got a Ryzen 1700X or whatever it is, or 2700X now, I can't remember which ones they are, or a Threadripper, as much as that be a massive step up from my current processor, I might as wait a few more months, and then either buy one of the brand new processors, or, it will make everything else go really cheap. So, it's win-win, so I'd rather wait and stick with this one for now, because it's not got any, like, reliability problems. It's just, for video rendering, it's just annoyingly slow. And again, that was cutting edge when it came out, or to a degree it was cutting edge, because it was when AMD didn't really do things other than add more cores. But in terms of brute force, it's a very good processor. It's just, it's quite antiquated by today's standards of how fast computer bits move along, especially if you use your CPU a lot like I do. Yeah, there are tech storm, but there are none near me, unfortunately. At least none for anything other than, like, 22 long rifle bolt-action rifles. Which is why I've never really got into shooting. Because there was a historical one at one point, and I'd have loved to have got into that, but that's not there anymore. Wow, I don't know how much I believe some of the things of climate change, because there's definitely been trends in human history before where we know the weather got hotter and colder. However, I don't think we should use that as a reason to not destroy the world, because I'm pretty sure humans are doing an awful job at just destroying the planet at the moment. And, the way I think about it is that we shouldn't just use that as the only reason not to destroy the planet. We shouldn't destroy the planet, because that's a bad idea. I think humans are pretty self-destructive animals, though, We could wipe ourselves out very easily. So yeah, I don't think it's a good thing. How much I believe in global warming exactly as it's presented by a lot of the media, I don't know. But I definitely think we need to stop polluting the environment less, chopping down lots of forests and all that sort of stuff. Very rarely, because most of the time on there it's just meme posting and shit posting. Yeah, like the 1050 Ti is probably very similar to the 1060, and the 1060 is very similar to the RX 480 that I've got. So, the RX 480 and 580 are pretty good CPUs, GPUs even. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, Callum. I imagine it'd be very effective. Yeah, I think pepper spray should be legal, but good luck convincing the politicians that. They're allowed that sort of stuff, but we're not. But we benefit from what Soviet films in our economy. Get good camouflage and learn some basic military techniques, I guess. I don't have any. I know that pinfire guns you can legally buy in the UK because they're so obsolete they're not classed as firearms. But I don't have any, and I don't have any experience shooting them or anything like that. The radiation in Chernobyl is very safe now. Well, I'll just say, like, basically, if there's any sort of terrorist attack, I'm going to condemn it no matter what, because generally the people killed in terrorist attacks aren't, bad people. So obviously, yeah, I'd condemn it. I'm not going to condone terrorism. But I think, a lot of this sort of stuff happens, and I don't want to get too political, because, governments force people with different ideologies to live with each other who don't like each other's ideologies. If you look at something like the Troubles, or, the Troubles in Northern Ireland, or, like, the breakup of Yugoslavia, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. A lot of the time it's government policy that drives people to do a lot of terrorism, or, makes it happen that wouldn't otherwise happen. So yeah, I don't think, obviously, terrorist attacks are good. They're obviously very bad, but yeah, I know the UK laws suck. Well, you're just asking another political question there, aren't you? Because you're on about Donald Trump. I think he's broken a lot of his promises that he was elected on. I still think he'd have been the best person for the time he was elected. But, unfortunately, he seems to have broken a lot of his electoral promises, so, that's not good. I think the UK media and politicians like Novichok Soviet films because they keep non-stop talking about it. The XM40 that the mercenaries have. Oh, actually, technically, either the S10 with dual filters or the FM12 with dual filters that the exoskeletons have. But otherwise, the XM40. Yeah, I was just literally talking about that like 3 minutes ago, Nangs. I'm not going to repeat what I just said about it because I'm not going to constantly be stuck in a loop. Well, if you watch the stream back, you'll hear what I said about it, but I'm not going to keep repeating what I said, you know, non-stop, because that gets very irritating on streams. What, like the one, Riley, about, the man, like, who's ordering a car for, like, a year down the line, asks if it's coming in the morning or the afternoon, and the bloke says, why does it matter in a year's time if it's coming in the morning or the afternoon, because I need to book the plumber in as well. That one. He's probably done some other jokes as well. Oh, you don't need a license for swords. I've seen the Stalker film, I didn't like it very much, which I know is probably heresy. I've read Roadside Picnic, and I like the book Roadside Picnic, and I like the Stalker games, but I don't like the actual Stalker film. I just found it very boring and artsy. I don't like films that linger on shots for ages, you know. Alright, see ya. Good luck with all your dissertation and uni stuff, or sixth form stuff, whatever it is. But yeah, the problem I think with our laws is that criminals will still get things regardless. Although I prefer the looks of some older cars, I'd say modern cars, just simply because they're much better on fuel economy and things like that. You know, they're much safer in a lot of ways. So, I'm just going to say modern cars. That's a very politically loaded question, isn't it? So no, I'm not going to answer that. I don't think there's such a thing as a 10p gas mask, or is that like a little crappy dust mask that wouldn't work? Is that a camo VSR 93? Maybe eBay, I don't know. That's cool, Hyperstrike. Exactly, the thing is, like, my opinion as well with most illegal drugs is that they should be sold legally. You should know exactly what you're getting and the risks of it. You know, driving under influence and things like that should still be a crime like they are with alcohol. But, you know, it should be sold where you can legally buy it. You know, if the government makes tax on it, so be it. But, you know what you're getting is safe and made to a good standard. I think, actually, where drugs are illegal in a lot of places, that encourages more people to get them, because they actually think it's, like, cool and edgy for a lot of them. You know, and there's things I have to get on prescription every sort of month because I'm chronically ill, which would technically be drugs, but because the doctor prescribes them, they're legal. But, you know, some people can't get them on prescription and then buy them illegally for that reason. There's lots of stuff like that, you know. Because they've legalised it not too long ago in the UK, I use CBD. That's helpful to me, but in some places that's still illegal. So my opinion is kind of most things should be legal, because I'm quite libertarian. If you didn't see the political video I did earlier, it put me as libertarian left or liberal left. I'd say I'm more libertarian right, to be honest, but the point is I don't like authoritarian governments being able to tell me what to do. But then the classes of drugs are totally random, because with the weed in the UK, that used to be Class C. They asked a guy who was like an expert on it, what they should do with it. He said legalise it, then they fired him, and then made it Class B from Class C so they could imprison people for longer or whatever, or fine them more if they had it. So I don't think the government's a good, you know, group to have in charge of what classes certain drugs should go into. Especially because some of them are like the exact same thing, but they put them in different classes. At the moment I can't because I'm doing a live stream. I'll try and remember to look at it later, but saying that, I'm watching Mike's live stream as soon as my one ends. So, I probably can't look at your channel right now, sorry. He's like a political commentator, isn't he? I've watched some things on him. I think I agree with some of his points, disagree with others of his points. But, yeah, like I said, I don't really know enough about him to actually, you know, judge how much I agree with all of his arguments, because I don't listen to him regularly. I think I've just seen 1 or 2 YouTube videos he's in. No, I wouldn't pay £250 for a gas mask. Right, cool, Mike. Tell you what, I'll finish at 5 to 9 then as well. And then when I finish, that'll give me 5 minutes or so to make my food, so I shouldn't miss much of your stream if you start at 9. If they're funny ones, Riley, yeah. If they're just crap, then no. That's like with anything. Do I like stuff? If it's well done, then yeah. Tell you what, let me open your channel in a new tab for you, Stalker, and then I might remember to look at some point when I've got some free time. Because otherwise I'm just going to forget. Ah, cool, so is your channel like lore on the Stalker series? Tell you what, if I give you a I'll subscribe to you, then hopefully I'll remember if you upload a new video to check your channel out properly. That's not an M1 Garand. It would be called a Garand anyway, but that's not an M1 Garand. It's a Lee Enfield if you're looking at the rifle along there. Number 1 Mark III, I think its technical name is. SMLE Number 1 Mark III. Let me see if I can get your Wikipedia page on it. There's an Imperial War Museum article on it. Let me post that. No, I've not heard of that. Is that a Stalker mod, Forgotten Hope 2? You've asked me all these questions before and I've answered them text on, but I said I didn't like Lost Alpha. Because it's just like one of those mods that's really broken, and they like start breaking all the lore of the Stalker series because the person who made the mod thought they could tell a better story and all that sort of stuff. No, I've not played that then. I've played Project Realism for Battlefield 2. I prefer the GP4 to be honest, but I like the Polish version of the GP4 more that's got a different name. Not really. To be honest, Box Truck, I think some kind of off-road cars are right, but a lot of people own them that have no need for them. And that's why I don't like them, because they take up too much space in parking. You know, in car parks or parking lots, whatever you want to call them. You know, a lot of the time the spaces are made for smaller cars over here. So you get loads of people with SUVs half parking across several spaces, wasting all the space. You might enjoy Stalker, why not? You can get it very cheap now. Yeah, but to be honest, that video is probably more educational than most of the Finger family stuff that's spammed on YouTube, because it at least actually has the names of the masks, rather than it being like Johnny Finger, Mummy Finger, whatever it is in the real ones. Right, cool, see ya. Yeah, I'll be on for 3 more minutes and then I'll finish. There's a video, Hyperstrike, that explains how I got into all this stuff. But there's not like a definitive answer to it, I'm afraid. I can't really tell you. I just think it's an interest that developed. Hearts of Iron 3 was my favourite Hearts of Iron game. Hearts of Iron 4 I've got, but I didn't actually get into it that much. For some reason I just liked Hearts of Iron 3 more. Did I post that link about the Lee Enfield? If not, I'll just post it again. But there you go, for the people asking about the Lee Enfield, there's a link to the Imperial War Museum's thing about the Lee Enfield. There's not loads of info on there, but it's actually about the individual rifle. So that's the model I've got on my wall. The more famous Lee Enfield is probably the No. 4 Mark I, which is the one that Britain used for the later half of World War II. And it's the one where a lot of people in the United States who have Lee Enfields that were sold as surplus, they're the ones they have, because that was the one that was like mass produced for ages at the end of the war in very big numbers, and then was, you know, like sold en masse to America as part of the Lend-Lease repayments. Let me have a look at how many video views that Finger Family parody has compared to most of them, because I think depressingly it has got a lot more views. YouTube says, oops, something went wrong, as I try and load up my channel dashboard, which is always helpful. Oops, something went wrong. If I can get up. Right, okay, I've got it up now. Okay, so that video has 3,722 views and 258 comments and 463 likes. The video that I uploaded a couple of days before it has 2,790 views and 144 comments and 223 likes. So basically, the video that came out a few days before it has about 1,000 views more than it. The video that came out a couple of days later has only about half the views, or even less than half the views it has. So yeah, depressingly, more people watch that than the content I spend like 20 minutes making, which didn't surprise me. I thought that would happen when I made it, because I'm not going to make a lot of videos like that, but you know, that's the depressing thing, isn't it? In theory, unless you're limited to foot-pounds of energy, a longer air rifle barrel would give you more pressure, so higher performance. That's not really the same, is it? Because GP4 is not the same as 40. An S10, 30 to 60 pounds. You can probably get an FM12 for less now, and the FM12's a better mask. So I'd recommend you to get an FM12. Anyway, I'll finish the stream off here. Sorry I can't get around to everybody else's questions, because I've actually had quite a few people watching this, so I'm definitely going to be doing more webcam streams during the week. I may do a stream Sunday once I finish work, but that is really going to depend on how much energy I've got, you know, and if I feel up to doing one. Because as soon as I get in from work on, you know, when I'm working, I always have like a bath or a shower, and I need to have dinner. So it depends if I've got the energy once all that's done on Sunday. But there'll definitely be streams during the week. Streams on Tuesday and Thursday like I always do at the moment. But there might be streams on other days at like random times in the day, and it might not even be for an hour. It might just be for 20 minutes, 30 minutes to see if people want to comment on them that don't normally get a chance to catch my streams and they're on in the evening. We'll have to see. But yeah, I'll see you on your stream in a few minutes, Mike, once I've got my food sorted and I'm able to sit down again and we'll start watching it. But yeah, thank you everybody. It's been an enjoyable stream for me. Hope you all enjoyed watching it.